night in the Mountain West is a big night, including this one. New Mexico at 14-1, Boise State at 9-4, and here we go from Boise, Idaho. Rich Waltz, Gonzaga All-American Dan Dickau, Emily Proud is with us. A rematch of a game in which New Mexico blew out Boise State in the pit. Donovan Dent, True Washington in a great backcourt for New Mexico, wearing their turquoise jerseys on the road. This is Donovan Dent, the leading candidate for Player of the Year, just a dynamite point guard. True Washington, Player of the Week in the Mountain West. The big man, Nelly Jr. Joseph, rolling to the hoop, missed it, and it's knocked out of bounds. Dan Dickau, let's take a look at the lineups here. The backcourt is terrific for New Mexico. Alvaro Cardenas and Pearson Carmichael making up the backcourt for Boise State.
And for Carmichael, first career start, a freshman from Bend, Oregon. They pulled his red shirt about 10 games ago. He is a scorer.
Philippe Vorvichinen with a bucket there, a three, and that's how this game starts. Again, it was a blowout. Boise State had 9 turnovers in the first half. New Mexico never looked back and won that game 84-65. Meadow, Vorvichinen knocks it loose.
These are two teams with contrasting styles. New Mexico top 10 in the country in tempo, where Boise State wants to play in the half court.
The question in this one, can Boise State score? They've had trouble doing that. They had just 47 in their last loss. No problem scoring from New Mexico. They don't shoot a lot of threes, but when they do, they make 35% of them.
If you double the post like they did with Nelly Jr. Joseph, you have to be connected on the weak side. Meadow was late, allowing Vorvichinen a wide open three on the kickout.
Speaking of kick, Emmanuel Ugbo kicks that one out of bounds. Boise State cannot afford any turnovers against a red-hot team that has won 8 straight and is number 37 in the net, New Mexico.
You clearly don't want to turn it over, but you can live with a turnover that doesn't result in a fast break opportunity for New Mexico, because their defense creates a lot of what's called pick sixes by Richard Pitino.
Junior Joseph is one of the most improved players in the Mountain West. He's averaging a double-double, 14 points, 11 rebounds, and a quick start to New Mexico. Absolutely what Leon Rice and Boise State did not want to have happen. Ugbo. This is Cardenas. Carmichael's first shot was partially blocked.
Interesting decision to have Dent matching up on Carmichael. It puts True Washington, one of the best defenders in the league, on Alvaro Cardenas.
3 is off. Cardenas runs it down.
So that point guard matchup, Cardenas-Dent, that we thought we were going to get a look at.
Degenhardt at 3, and he hits it.
He has shot the ball from the perimeter much better in Mountain West Conference play. You touched on Dent being the favorite. Degenhardt's right there if Boise State can make a late push.
The Broncos want tempo in this game, but they don't want to let New Mexico get rolling. They're very good at tempo, and that's another turnover from Ugbo.
Ugbo threw the high-low pass that needed to go about 12 feet, about 8.
And a nice soft touch in there. Right now, Nelly Jr. Joseph is playing like one of the best bigs on the West Coast.
Well, you touched on his improvement a season ago, 3 years at Iona for Rick Pitino, now for Richard. But a lot of it is roster makeup. Last year's New Mexico team so guard dominant, he didn't get a lot of opportunities.
Cardenas whips it to the corner. Meadow with a baseline drive, but no finish. 6th in the nation in adjusted tempo, courtesy of Ken Palm. So New Mexico gets up and down the court, 83 points a game. Coming off a stirring win over Utah State in a foul out high. Ugbo, Daisy Cottage Cheese, and Dan Dickau bring you the keys to the game.
New Mexico's got to make Degenhardt struggle and win the glass, because Boise State's really good in that category. For the Broncos, limit Lobos in transition. We already talked about how fast they want to play, and take care of the basketball will allow them to control the tempo of the game.
Javen Buchanan checks into the ball game for Boise State. He's been terrific. The transfer from Indiana Wesleyan. Dent driving. He's an outstanding finisher, and he does just that with a bunch of contact as well.
You're right. He is a tremendous finisher. He can finish either hand. He can finish off 1 foot or 2 feet. That time, through a little bit of contact. Cardenas lucky to not get a foul called, though.
He did a terrific job on Cardenas at the pits. It was his worst game of the season. Back cut and a dunk. That's Meadow out of the corner.
Good recognition. Defender turns his head. Back cut. Carmichael, the nice find. Meadow to finish over the top.
That's an offensive foul, a moving screen that picked off Cardenas. Underway in the Mountain West, 9-5 start for New Mexico. For those of you watching on our free streaming coverage, it concludes after the commercial break. But we'll continue on CBS Sports Network, and you can find us by going to cbssportsnetwork.com/channel finder.
College basketball on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Daisy. Made from only milk, cream, and salt with 13 grams of protein. Only Daisy. By AT&T. Connecting changes everything. And by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. What's your beef?
Boise, Idaho, a 9-5 start for New Mexico. Rich Waltz, Gonzaga All-American Dan Dickow. Emily Proud is with us as well. Here's the skinny. New Mexico has won 8 straight. They have a 2-game lead and the tiebreak over the number 2 team. That's Utah State. And for Boise State right now, this feels almost like a must-win.
It does have that feeling, and a lot of it is because Boise is knocking on the door of the NCAA tournament. They were the preseason favorites, but they haven't been able to beat anybody above them in the standings. The nice thing, if you're a Bronco fan, is the schedule comes back to them. Opportunity tonight, opportunity against Colorado State as well coming up in the final couple weeks.
That's a great point. They are 9-0 against teams below them, 0-5 against teams above them. And of course, New Mexico has just beaten everybody. They got clipped on the road at pesky San Jose State for their only loss in conference. Out of the timeout, Meadow off a screen. This is Carmichael getting his first start. Drives to the bucket. A lot of contact, no whistle. Carmichael with the putback, and he's fouled. And he gets to the line. Broncos desperate for offense, and that's why Leon Rice pulled the trigger on Carmichael. Just his 11th game of the season. He was going to redshirt, and they pulled the red shirt and threw him in there.
Well, he's got the ability to shoot it from beyond the arc, but that was a great example of his straight line driving is attacking the rim. RJ Keene, a phenomenal defender, best metrics in regards to what he provides value for the Broncos in talking to Leon Rice, but Leon felt they needed a scoring punch, and Carmichael, I think, is the guy that can do that.
Couple free throws off the bench. Jovan Milicevic for New Mexico, along with Braden Appelhans. And you got C.J. Nolan in there as well, and that answers a question of whether he would play or not. He was questionable coming into tonight after banging his head. Milicevic with a miss.
Good defense on that possession for Meadow.
Lob. Degenhardt. Missed it. Got it back.
That's one thing Degenhardt does, is he continues to compete. Misses the first, but sticks his nose in there, able to come up with the offensive rebound. Put back.
Nelly Jr. Joseph in the low blocks has been really good so far. Hard drive, Nolan can't finish. Degenhardt handling on the break. Meadow going hard. Bumped. Ball's loose. That's going to New Mexico. Richard Pitino has done a tremendous job in Albuquerque. His 4th year, NCAA tournament last year. Remember, they won 4 games at the Mountain West tournament to win that tournament, get to the NCAA tournament. And this year, they're poised to go back. Number 37 in the net, 22-4. Just like Pops, right? St. John's is 22-4 and in first place as well. And the importance of sweeping Utah State, 2-game lead and the sweep. An issue on the bench.
That's something I haven't seen in a long time. Abraham Masako was set to check in the game, forgot to put his jersey on.
Sacco is fully dressed now.
I've only seen one other thing like that my rookie year with the Atlanta Hawks. Maurice Bennett had his jersey on backwards when he checked into the game.
Oh, that's marvelous from Dent, who scores while falling away after being fouled. He ends up on the floor. And now he'll have a chance at a three-point play.
He's just a shot maker, as Donovan Dent. Averages nearly 20 a game. I don't think there was a foul on Cardenas on the shot attempt. It looked like the initial contact could have been called for a foul.
All right, we're getting a clarification on Sacco. Apparently, he had an illegal undershirt on. Buchanan. That sounds like a line of sportswear you would find at like a surf shop, right? Degenhart with the rebound. He took the offending undershirt off. He's in the game. And Buchanan goes to the bucket and scores.
What a pass from Cardenas. One of the all-time greats in regards to making plays for teammates in the Mountain West. That was right on the money.
Junior Joseph attacking Degenhart. Double, kicks, Nolan three. Both these teams are last in the Mountain West in shooting threes, attempting threes. Nolan, that's a three. He got a second look at it and knocked it down.
Nolan has been playing really well. Essentially their sixth starter. He was questionable tonight. He got hit in the head in their previous game against Utah State. Only played 7 minutes.
Stolen. Yeah, he does that too. Dent stepped out of bounds. He scores almost 20 a game, over 6 assists, 42 steals, second on the team. And he came a tiptoe away from a thunderous dunk. Look at Leon Rice making the call.
Right there, yeah. He's pointing it out before the official has a chance to blow his whistle.
Look at Leon.
That's great. There's 3 officials, Leon. I'm sure they'll get it right.
Brian Dorsey, Nate Harris, A.B. Bonner are the officials. New Mexico, of course, just played that thrilling game against Utah State for a win. Boise State really struggled offensively, losing on the road to San Diego State. Cardenas trying to get loose.
What defense from Nolan.
Shot clock down. Bowie rattles out. That's the thing about New Mexico. Excellent defensively. They steal the ball from you. And one of the best offenses, dynamic offenses in the West.
Richard Pitino gives his players a lot of freedom on the defensive end of the floor. You saw it in the previous seasons with Jalen House. Sometimes you didn't know what he was going to do defensively, but he would end up coming up with a steal in a timely manner.
And the steals trigger that. A little transition three. Carmichael has the rebound. He's back in. That is a ambitious pass to Bowie. And over his hands. And the freshman back out now. 8 minutes in, first half. New Mexico a 15-11 start. And really for Boise State, that's kind of a win because in their first meeting, it was over, it felt like, in the first 5 to 8 minutes.
Well, Richard Pitino told us his shoot-around today. That was a great 20 minutes of basketball. Defensively, they were flying around, creating problems, forcing turnovers, which allowed them to get out in transition. And he was very honest. And sometimes when you have a half like that, you're worried about what starts the second half. Well, right off the bat, they put no doubt in Boise State's mind because C.J. Nolan came up with a steal in that very first possession.
Tiki, Ali Tiki, the Tanzanian, the transfer from BYU.
Heck of a delivery on the pass.
This New Mexico offense is so balanced. They can hurt you from the outside, they can penetrate, and they can lob to the bigs. Bowie kicks. 4 turnovers already for Boise State.
This can be a problem when Cardenas is out of the game. Getting into good offense. Bowie, more of a scorer as opposed to a setup point guard.
Boy, it's rugged out there right now. Keene has the loose ball, and it's held. The arrow is going to stay with Boise State. They are letting them play, as one might say.
They're letting them play, but they're also making big-time plays. Borovicinen over the top. Ali Atiki with the finish.
(17-11), New Mexico on top. Our Emily Proud moments ago with Leon Rice.
Coach, 4 turnovers early in that game. What adjustments need to be made to correct that?
Stop turning it over. I mean, we were a little, 2 of them were from our center, and then a couple of them were just thrown out of bounds. We just got to calm down a little bit, let the game come to us, and be a little more on the attack. Because when you go by them, they'll foul you, and we've shown that already. So we got to keep going by them and put a little more pressure on the defense that way.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, nice job, Emily. It's physical down there, but I don't think either coach minds that. I think both teams kind of thrive on that.
I would agree with you. For New Mexico, they like the physicality because defensively they're really active with their hands, slapping at it. And for Boise State, that gives them the chance to really pound the glass, lead the Mountain West in rebound differential. They are a physical team in that aspect of the floor.
Cardenas back on the floor, and he cuts to the bucket and missed it with a left hand.
Great job from Dotson, not giving up on the play after Cardenas had an opening on the back cut.
Cade Dotson against Cardenas now. True Washington's back in. Sacco in the ball game as well. This is Washington, the lefty, tied up in the corner. Ball knocked loose. Keene has it. And the Broncos pry it away. Wide open is Meadow. Good rebound by Dotson. Freshman out of Beaumont, Texas. Washington had a huge game against Utah State. 25 points, 4 steals, 4 assists, and a big 3 in the closing moments. That's Dotson on the miss. Boise State is the best rebounding team in the Mountain West. Degenhardt on the feed. Gets in and scores. And a free throw comes.
Tremendous recognition by Cardenas in transition to realize that Degenhardt had the much smaller Dotson deliver the ball, let Degenhardt go to work, finish with a chance at the three-point play. What more can you say about Degenhardt in his career? About 8 games in, was moved into the starting lineup, and he has just been a rock for Leon Rice ever since then. He's got a chance to become Boise State's all-time leading scorer by the end of the year.
132 points away. They're guaranteed 7 games left. If that's it, he needs to average 20 a game. If he gets another game, it's 17 a game. And if they play 9 more games, 15.5 points to break the long-standing record. Tanaka Beard, the great big in Boise State history. Borovicinen hit an early 3, gets in the lane, and it's a walk. Tempo, Dan. I mean, both coaches talked about it. New Mexico likes to stir it up and go. Boise State likes tempo, but they didn't want New Mexico to really get loose.
Well, Boise State's kind of in that predicament where they will play fast. They like to play fast, but you have to be selective in how you let the game go against New Mexico because they want it as frenetic as anybody in the country.
Cardenas, Meadow in the corner. Omar Stanley, he walked. One thing about the turnovers, though, for Boise State, they have not been really a lot of live ball turnovers, which that's what kind of fuels New Mexico's juice.
You're exactly right on that. It's the steals off the dribble or in the passing lane that allows them to get out and go quickly.
Dense in traffic. Keene is a good rebounder. Cardenas. 5.7 turnovers for Cardenas at the pit.
They missed the switch. They're trying to Get it to Degenhart now with the much smaller Dent.
Stanley bangs home a three.
Well, that's one way to attack. If they're worried about the high-low over the top by playing off, Stanley steps up and knocks down the three.
Washington driving. Nice scoop for the bucket. True Washington, player of the week, an outstanding defender, and all of a sudden his offensive game is coming.
He's been playing really well. A season ago, 49 steals as a freshman. This year he's already topped that mark.
Degenhart battling hard, steps through, left hand no. Nicely done by Milicevic, freshman from Toronto. Back down the floor. Nelly Jr. Joseph.
We've talked about Cardenas' vision, but that was a terrific pass from Dent to Joseph in transition. Every night out, Dent is a threat for a triple-double. Hasn't gotten one in his career, but good passer. He's also active on the glass.
Degenhart driving hard. You can see a sea of arms. And he picks up the foul, and he'll get free throws. Timeout on the floor.
But True Washington attacking the rim high off the glass before Dent finds Junior Joseph in transition. We got a good one. Don't go anywhere.
21-17, New Mexico on top. Richard Pitino moments ago with our Emily Proud.
Coach, you told us you knew you were facing a physical Boise State team. How was your team handling that physicality early?
Not bad. I mean, they're tough and they're physical. We gave up a couple offensive rebounds. Degenhart's really, really good. They put him in the middle of the court and drive. Got to do a better job of helping without fouling.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Richard Pitino in his fourth year. He said one of the adjustments he made after 7 years at Minnesota, arriving at New Mexico, he was going to call less plays. So oftentimes on a turnover or a made or a missed bucket, you'll just see him waving his arm like, go, go. And that he felt has really freed up the offense. Certainly did with guys like Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn and now with Donovan Dent.
Well, you're exactly right. He's had a roster of guards that's allowed him to play that way. And when they have an advantage, sometimes as a coach, you don't need to call a play. Let them feel the game out themselves. And I think that's a tremendous adjustment on his part.
Degenhart hits two, and he'll get his first rest.
He's off to a tremendous start tonight, 10 points. He's been so consistent. Only one game this season in single figures. That was here at home in the loss against San Diego State.
Great play by Cardenas with the steal. Trailing is Stanley, going to the bucket. Left hand, got it.
What a finish. Switches to the left, a nice finish off the glass for Omar Stanley.
Another steal. That's Stanley. Buchanan, three. Stanley went over the back to get that. Oh, wait a minute. I think that's going to be a New Mexico foul.
Yeah, the way Richard Pitino's talking to the official, he doesn't like it, so I think you're right. But Omar Stanley, who has been struggling lately, his last 9 games, not even 5 points a game, has brought a ton of energy to the floor tonight.
Well, that's a painful foul. Not only the call that they disagree with, True Washington picks up the foul, his second.
To keep an eye on.
Meadow in tight, missed it.
It's probably the 4th layup Boise State has missed point blank range.
Boy, man, I mean, it's tough and low. Meadow, great catch, gather, blocked, Dent.
Boise State crowd wants a foul, but that was great defense from Dent.
And Washington hits a three. What a turn of events. The block by Dent, the three by Washington.
5-point swing. Meadow not able to convert at the rim, leads to a wide open three.
Keene, along with Stanley, Buchanan, Meadow, and Cardenas for Boise State. Good double there. Stanley wide open is Keene for the dunk. It's only a good double if someone picks up the loose man.
It didn't rotate quick enough out of there, but a great recognition from Keene on the back cut.
Dent probing. And he's going to the line to shoot 2. Milicevic gets caught rotating too soon. Keene, the finish over the top. Free throw up and good. The race to become European football royalty continues. Second leg of the knockout phase begins tomorrow, 12:45 Eastern. See who can secure their spot in the round of 16. The UEFA Europa League on CBS Sports Network. Stream every match on Paramount Plus. Not quite a knockout round here, but for Boise State, feels like a must-win. They've not beaten anybody above them in the standings. And they're running out of time. 2.5 weeks left in the Mountain West schedule.
If you look at their overall resume, their net solid at 47. It's actually higher than San Diego State, who most bracketologists have in the tournament at this time. But you got to beat the teams above you in the standings the rest of the way out.
Cardenas, corner 3. A loud house tonight in Boise, Idaho. Dent. Doubles. Wow. Oh, he threads the needle. And Junior Joseph lays it up and in.
So we have 2 really good passing point guards tonight. Cardenas, and then that pass from Donovan Dent.
28-26. New Mexico on the road and on top. (28-26). Leon Rice has been to the NCAA tournament the last 3 years. Their resume, as you noted, the net is 47. It's not a be-all, end-all is the net, and that quality wins, especially on the road or against anybody above them in the standings. That's what is missing. They did beat, of course, St. Mary's. I think their best win's probably Clemson, right? Clemson and St. Mary's are both in that top 30 of the net. There goes Degenhart spinning.
Yeah, that St. Mary's win, I think, is going to end up helping them a lot. They are very undervalued nationally.
Carmichael is fouled. You don't see many schools redshirting freshmen these days, but Boise State wanted to redshirt this kid out of Bend, Oregon. First foul on Nolan until he started tearing it up on the scout team. And with more on the guy they call Peanut, here's Emily Proud.
Yeah, Tyson Degenhart said that he has shown this ability throughout the year, as you said, on the scout team. He said there were days where we just couldn't stop him. And Degenhart said that really his ability to shoot the 3 creates a lot of space for other guys to kind of do our thing. He said this is the right time to add a little spark and the right guy.
Peanut!
Why not? Almost as if on cue. His parents, Eric and Carly, up for his first start from Bend. They had to have enjoyed that one.
And the crowd arriving first. Lead of the night for Boise State. Good rotation. Ball fake. Nolan drives and hits. Every time Boise State makes a little run, New Mexico's had an answer. Degenhart missed the 3. Boy, Nolan is a really nice addition back in the lineup. He's really a 6th starter. Dent falling away.
And that's what you always wonder about with so much player movement in the transfer portal. How are guys going to fit? Nolan's been terrific. Came from North Texas, where he averaged about 11 a game a year ago. Great defender. He has bought in to what Richard Pitino wants done.
Cardenas, pocket pass. Degenhart skips through the lane and gets a couple free throws.
You get your first start, you got to be aggressive. Off the offensive rebound, Carmichael lets it fly. We're all tied at 30.
Fun first half, 30 apiece, New Mexico and Boise State. This guy's been underrated nationally, and it's just starting to emerge. Nelly Jr. Joseph is having a beast of a season.
He's been really good. One of 12 players in the country to average a double-double, and he's been super efficient in doing so. A year ago, 9 points, 8 rebounds, but he has taken a big leap this year in leadership and also in responsibility, and he's provided.
And he's had the full Patino experience, right?
Yeah.
Iona for dad, and here in New Mexico for son.
We asked Richard at shoot-around, has that helped in regards to maybe terminology? He said not necessarily terminology, but probably just comfort level. I would imagine both Patinos talk in a similar way, coach in a similar way, have the same expectations for how hard you're expected to play.
Of course, they played each other this year, and Richard and the Lobos went to New York to take on St. John's, lost that game, didn't hurt them in the net at all. I mean, St. John's is outstanding. Both their teams right now are 22-4. St. John's in New Mexico, and both teams are in first place. How about that for a father-son combo?
Yeah, if New Mexico hadn't lost to San Jose State, I believe they would have been ranked currently.
Applehans with a 3. He's a 41% shooter from distance.
But that's what he does. You have to understand on his scouting report, 58 of his 71 field goal attempts coming into tonight are from 3.
Cardenas.
He's quietly putting together a heck of a game. The first matchup, 6 assists but 7 turnovers tonight. Has yet to turn it over against this pressure of New Mexico.
Applehans hunting a 3, penetrates, and misses the 15-footer. Cardenas, the Spaniard, dragged the foot, and that's a walk in his first turnover of the night.
I said it too soon, I guess, but Applehans for New Mexico, you can't give him any space because that's what he wants to do. You got to run him off the three-point line, but Cardenas with the answer himself.
At shoot-around today, Boise State worked on offense probably 75% of that 1 hour, 1 and 15 practice. That's different than usual. Junior Joseph, a loud, thunderous dunk.
Holy cow.
From Dent.
Great pass, even better finish. This crowd went silent in a hurry.
Boise State normally hangs their hat on defense, but today, offense. And they desperately need it after just 47 points on the road at San Diego State. Degenhardt, he's had like 4 different guys guard him already. Cardenas sears it over. Neto, the 3.
What vision from Cardenas, taking a page out of his favorite Spanish point guard, Sergio Rodriguez, on that one.
And Ricky Rubio, Steve Nash, those were the guys that he watched growing up. Dent fouled hard. Stanley clobbered him. This, here's the last look at that gorgeous pass and dunk.
That is a difficult pass from Cardenas. That is a pass that is a backbreaker for the defense when you kind of have a good coverage on a pick and roll, but you're in the right spot, weak side, but you get zipped on time and on target.
Dent deflected. Degenhardt. The layup. Junior Joseph abusing the rim once again.
It's a perfect example of how fast New Mexico wants to play. 3 seconds went off the shot clock after a made basket.
We get to call Mountain West games with some regularity, and it seems like every one we've had this year, high stakes and high level of play. Carmichael Dent with the steal. How about another?
They are going to have to check that rim after Nelly Jr. Joseph continues to attack it with reckless abandon. New Mexico making a run.
High level indeed. Getting closer to AT&T at the half. Adam Zucker, Wally Zerbiak, John Rothstein, Roy Hibbert certainly enjoyed those 3 dunks from Nelly Jr. Joseph. It's all coming up. AT&T at the half. Highlights from around the country. And love to hear everybody talk about the first half here in Boise and what feels like a must-win for the Broncos for their NCAA at-large hopes. And New Mexico is on a big-time roll. Won 8 straight. They're 14-1. And they blew the Broncos out earlier this year at the pit in Albuquerque. Degenhart going hard, knocked away, out of bounds, and it stays with Boise State. Feels like Degenhart has much more of an impetus to score. Junior Joseph, just the dunk montage. Cardenas whacked as he came around that screen. And that's going to be the second foul on Nolan. Drew Washington, remember, picked up 2 fouls. We haven't seen much of him since. And that's the importance of having C.J. Nolan here tonight, right? You have the luxury of giving Washington a break and not picking up that third. And you got a quality guy, essentially a starter in Nolan.
Well, the one guy we haven't really touched on much of being out is Mustafa Amsil for New Mexico. He's their 3rd leading scorer, extremely versatile at 6'9", can shoot it from the 3-point line, good rebounder, can defend multiple positions.
Also, the foul, they just went and clarified, is the foul on Appelhans or is it on Nolan?
Should have been on Nolan. He was the one guarding Cardenas, trying to fight through that dribble handoff up top.
I had it on Nolan. When we get a break, we will check and double check. Dent driving, falling away, missed it. Tip out, Cardenas has it.
I know Dent missed that jump shot, but that was shifty. He was able to create space with Cardenas guarding him closely to start the possession.
We've been told it is Nolan's foul, his second. He's chasing Cardenas here. Degenhart lost it. Dead ball turnover, 24.7 left. New Mexico down 3. Milicevic is going to check back in. Sacco sits down. Appelhans, good 3-point shooter on the floor. Nolan is out there. Dent in control.
Boise State's got a couple fouls to give if they want to use it. Only 4 right now.
Let's see if they do. Dent doubled, fires it. Appelhans stepped out of bounds. Turnover, 2.2 seconds left. Defended well by the Broncos. Cardenas, Nolan knocked it out. That's going to cost about half a second. But it does advance the ball up the floor. That's a good move to bring Nolan off the floor with 2 fouls. Dotson comes in to defend Cardenas. Degenhart to trigger it in. He was looking for Peanut. And Junior Joseph with the pick misses. Terrific half of basketball here in the Mountain West. Boise State 42, New Mexico 39. Emily Proud with Tyson Degenhart.
Tyson, you're 5 points shy of how many you scored in the last game total. What's opened up so much on offense for you?
Our offensive pace is a lot better. We're moving the ball. We're being physical. We drew 9 fouls on them, which is more than we had in the first half of their game.
Defensively, a few breakdowns there towards the end. How do you clean that up in the second?
More communication, just some defensive lapses with not being in enough, and we'll fix that up at half.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terrific stuff, Emily. Big one in the Mountain West. Aren't they all? Boise State by 3 after the break. We'll send you to Adam and the gang in New York. AT&T at the half. You're watching college basketball on CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Back in Boise, Idaho. AT&T game summary. This is a very close game, and the numbers show it. Turnovers are pretty much even. Rebounding is pretty darn close. And, man, a 42-39 halftime lead for the home team, Boise State, who feels like they have to win this game to give their resume a nice polish. Rich Waltz, Dan Dickow, Emily Proud will join us shortly. It's high-level stuff every night in the Mountain West, and a lot at stake. More so, I feel, for Boise State here.
Yeah, the stars have shown up to play tonight. The point guard battle has been great between Dent and Cardenas, but the bigs have both been phenomenal. Degenhart, a preseason player of the year, hasn't disappointed, 14 points. And for New Mexico, Nelly Jr. Joseph has attacked the rim, whether it's been in transition or setting a screen and running to the rim. And he has put a beat down on that rim on a number of occasions in the first half.
Tyson Degenhart, the 14 points and the 4 rebounds. Nelly Jr. Joseph, 14 points. Feels like 4 of those buckets were dunks. High-level point guard play. Dent, 7 assists, 1 turnover. Cardenas, 5 assists, 1 turnover. This is fun stuff. And it's just 2.5 weeks left in the regular season. Again, the Broncos have not beaten anybody above them in the standings. They're 0-5 there. They're 9-0 against teams below them. And New Mexico is beating everybody. The only bump in the road was a loss on the road at San Jose State. And here we go, second half. True Washington picked up 2 early fouls. Out there with Dent. And a 3. Nelly Jr. Joseph is tied up and gets the rebound nonetheless. Let's check in with Emily Proud. Emily?
Yeah, it's not going to surprise anyone that Richard Pitino's main message at the half was all about defense. He told me we have to make them earn it more. Obviously, 6 of 12 from 3 is not good, but limiting Tyson Degenhart will be key. And how do they do that? Well, he told me if they're going to commit 2 guys to him, we have to do it without fouling.
Good stuff.
Well, they worked on their double team coverages out of the post, being locked in on the weak side, ready to react.
Did you see Dent draw the defenders, curls a sweet little pass? That's 8 assists against just 1 turnover tonight.
He has been spectacular throughout the season. I had a chance to call their game when they beat UCLA in the non-conference in Vegas, and he made a statement early on how good he was going to be this season.
Neto misses. Stanley has the rebound. Carmichael got his first start in his career. The freshman hit a big 3 in that first half. Shot clock at 10. Cardenas. Stanley down the middle. Degenhart, good fake and bucket.
The awareness from Degenhart on the catch to recognize Junior Joseph was closing in to contest. Gets him to fly by, and then the finish.
Washington. Stanley knocks it loose. It stays with New Mexico.
Get another look at this pass from Donovan Dent. That is high-level stuff. The Stanley does his best Dent impersonation before Degenhart is able to finish it at the rim.
Amseal is out tonight. C.J. Nolan is playing for New Mexico. Nelly Jr. Joseph has done essentially what he's wanted. Degenhart, it's a held ball, and Boise State gets it back.
Stanley has been really good tonight. He's struggled lately, but he has played with a ton of energy. He started this second half in place of Ubo. A good defensive stand there, not giving Junior Joseph an angle.
Cardenas doubles. Stanley!
This point guard matchup, you made a great pass. Let's see if I can one-up you.
And a Bronco foul.
This is the hesitation at the point of the pick and roll and then the look off before Stanley finishes it over the top.
Stanley picks up his third personal. 5-point lead for Boise State. Washington. Milicevic with the miss. Cardenas with his head up. Matched up against Dent. Now it's double. Cardenas in trouble. Steps through. Degenhart finds Meadow. Back to Degenhart, overpassing, and a turnover in Washington. True Washington, how about that?
He ran into his own player. Ran into a brick wall, and Junior Joseph somehow able to get it to fall.
Cardenas trying to get around Junior Joseph, steps through, kicks. Carmichael, no. And the rebound, Nelly Junior Joseph. That's just his third rebound, but he's got 16 points. He's 8 of 9 from the field. Meadow picks up the loose ball. Degenhart was wide open down the lane. Carmichael, 3!
And that's what they've needed, is some spark from beyond the three-point line. You miss your first, don't let it affect you. Keep shooting. This crowd at ExtraMile has come to life.
Coverage of college basketball tomorrow, doubleheader, CAA showdown, Monmouth and Hofstra, and then Conference USA powerhouse, Middle Tennessee, Louisiana Tech. That's at 9 on CBS Sports Network. And yes, they were the 3 there from Carmichael.
He's provided a deep three-point threat that Boise State has needed throughout the season.
And we would be remiss if we didn't visit with Daniel Pacho, the leading scorer for the Bulldogs. And they did play the Village people during the break, so Pacho fits in nicely there. Junior Joseph spinning.
Terrific job and help side from Cardenas. For New Mexico isolates Junior Joseph at the nail where it's hard to bring a help.
Buchanan. Against Milicevic. It's been a great matchup all night. Degenhart, Junior Joseph. Here's him caught in the corner. Shot clock's down. Degenhart in the lane. Steps through and misses a one-hander. Junior Joseph has the rebound. Dent. That was short. Buchanan. Broncos don't have a lot of guys that can create their own shots. Cardenas, step back 3. Yes! He can do it on occasion.
Because you're worried about his passing ability in the pick and roll, if you mess up a coverage, he will read it, he will recognize it, and he'll make you pay.
Biggest lead for Boise State at 9. Hard drive for Vichanen.
New Mexico needed that one. Vichanen been fairly quiet tonight. Only his second bucket, but he has been a good addition from Arizona, where he spent 2 years, just couldn't crack the rotation in Tucson.
Cardenas and Washington were shoving each other as he came around that pick. Carmichael got it. The freshman shining tonight. Dent driving hard. Cardenas with the reach.
Not just a passer, he can make you pay for beyond the arc as well. Cardenas, the bench likes it.
During the month of February, CBS Sports celebrates Black history, recognizing its influence on our culture and society. Tonight, we're in Boise, Idaho. The incredible legacy of Aurelius Buckner. He was the first black football, basketball, and baseball player at Boise State in the 40s. Both of his seasons playing basketball, he was the leading scorer and team captain. He sadly passed away in 2003, but his daughter, Sherry Buckner Webb, has kept the legacy going. She became Idaho's first black elected state legislator and was elected both to the House and the Senate. It's well done by the Buckners. Here in the Mountain West, New Mexico rules the day right now. 14-1 atop the standings, a 2-game lead over Utah State. They have the tie break over Utah State as well. Donovan Dent misses. He doesn't miss in tight like that very often. Boise State is at 9-5, but they haven't beaten anybody above them in the standings. And it's getting late early, as they said long ago. Because with 2.5 weeks left, it's a three! Pearson Carmichael, a shot at a 4-point play.
He's quickly becoming a fan favorite here in Boise. Shooter gets the friendly roll. Chance at the 4-point play.
Third foul on C.J. Nolan. Pearson Carmichael. He burned his red shirt 11 games ago. They needed offense. This is his first start, and boy, did they need what he's given them after scoring 47 at San Diego State on Saturday. Nelly Jr. Joseph, determined, blocked. That was Keene coming down to get it. Buchanan. Cardenas has been splendid, so has Dent tonight, handling the ball. Shot clock down. Stanley rolling. Foul. Block. It was a block as Stanley came down. That's True Washington's third. What do you think?
A good call from the official. Washington wasn't square. He turns his shoulder at the last second. He was there in time. He was outside the restricted circle, but he has to stay chest in front as opposed to turning such as he did.
You would turn your shoulder if Omar Stanley was coming full speed at you.
Probably true. I was a team defender. I didn't necessarily take a lot of charges. As a player, you have to know where your value is. Mine was on the offensive end of the floor.
Listen to you.
Shooting it, making plays.
New Mexico really scuffling right now. A 12-2 run by Boise State. And this kid, his first career starts.
He has not disappointed. They've needed a spark from beyond the arc, and he has done just that. The moment of his first start hasn't been too big for him. Two-time player of the year in the state of Oregon.
15 points now for Carmichael. 3 threes, 4 rebounds. Carmichael against Dent, who pokes it from behind, and it's out of bounds. Stays with Boise State. 7 minutes in. Second half. It was a 3-point game at the half. New Mexico held the lead for most of that first half. Boise inched out in front At the halfway point, they were back and forth all the way to halftime. Richard Pitino and Leon Rice. Dent comes out 53 seconds before the under 12 whistle. So Cardenas draws Dotson defensively. Buchanan held. Sacco.
Foul number 7.
Cardenas has put a lot of pressure on New Mexico's ball screen defense.
13.
You can turn the corner. You can make the hook pass, the skip pass. He also doesn't pick up his dribble. Too many players, when they see pressure, they'll pick their dribble up too soon.
Degenhart getting some rest. Long three, long rebound. Knocked out of bounds. It's Boise State's ball. Degenhart's going to check back in. For Stanford. That's the right call. It looked like Sacco had the hand on it. Remember, Mustafa Amsil is still out with plantar fasciitis on his right foot for New Mexico. It's 12 points, almost 6 rebounds are missing. Keene, good catch. Great feed. Degenhart.
Terrific execution on the block-to-block screen, freeing up Degenhart. I like what I'm seeing tonight from Degenhart with his aggressiveness to score. Atiki just late getting through the screen. Degenhart at the line for a three-point play. As good and as consistent as Degenhart has been, there's still a factor to his game where he doesn't take games over. His career high or his season high this year, 27 points, 26 against San Jose State. He's that rare star who doesn't have a 30-plus game. It's because he's such a selfless team player.
He could be the career scorer in Boise State history and not have a 30-point game in his whole career.
Yeah.
That's really rare. Dotson. And a lot of movement on the offense. Dotson trying to do it himself. Keene has the rebound. Numbers, Cardenas, corner, Carmichael again! One of the best decisions Leon Rice has ever made. The kid starts, and he's got 18. Time to revisit our keys to the game, brought to you by Daisy Cottage Cheese.
Well, New Mexico hasn't made Degenhart struggle. He's been very efficient tonight. They've struggled on the glass. Boise's been really good there in the second half. And for Boise State, they haven't let New Mexico get out and play at the pace that they want, where they're most accustomed to. And a lot of that is because they've taken care of the basketball. Yeah, there's 10 turnovers, but the majority of those have been dead ball turnovers where they've been called for a travel or they've thrown the ball out of bounds, not allowing the Lobos to get out.
Fun battle of the bigs here. Nelly Joseph and Tyson Degenhart.
Degenhart doing what he's done for 4 years now, just being super efficient, taking advantage of what comes his way. 19 points, 6 of 10 from the field, 6 of 6 from the free throw line.
You never see this against New Mexico. They're the team that always makes the big runs. They have 14 runs of 10-0 or more this season, which is incredible. But tonight, this big Boise run has built what feels like almost not insurmountable, but closing in on it. This is New Mexico, one of the best tempo teams in the country, the very best in the Mountain West. If they can get it rolling, they can erase this pretty quickly.
Yeah, against New Mexico and their firepower, in particular with Den, they have the ability to come back like not a lot of teams can. Den has struggled from the field tonight, 2 of 9, but he's missed a couple that he normally makes. And with their ability to to force turnovers. Maybe they can get a couple easy buckets in transition. They could make this interesting in a hurry.
Well, only 5 free throws for New Mexico all night. They've hit all 5 of them. Boise is 12 of 13. The point guards have been outstanding. 8 assists, 1 turnover for Cardenas. 8 assists, 2 turnovers for Dent. Carmichael playing with a lot of confidence now. Throws up a wild left-handed shot and gets the whistle.
That's such a difficult set to guard. You're seeing a lot of teams across the country run that type of action. A down screen, up the lane, into a dribble handoff, where if the defense is just a little bit behind, if you get that dribble handoff cleanly, you've got a free lane to the basket. Carmichael may be off balance, but Borovichinen trying to get back in the play, fouls.
Having watched Boise State all season long, and then Saturday at San Diego State, the arrival of Pearson Carmichael, and I'm not saying he's going to go for 20 every night, but just his presence and the ability to shoot the 3, that changes everything offensively for the Broncos.
Yeah, it does, because they haven't been a good three-point shooting team throughout the season. Tonight, 10 made threes.
Look at Dent. Gorgeous pass. Borovichinen with a shot at a 3-point play. Dent is just so good.
The pace that they got the ball up the floor into that step-up pick and roll allows the defense to be collapsed. And then the vision and the passing ability to deliver it to Borovichinen on the cut.
And in this age of transfer portal and NIL, Dent is an outlier. He came to New Mexico knowing that he would be playing behind House and Mashburn. Didn't worry him. And last year with those 2 stars, at the end of the season, it felt like he was the best guard they had. And he's proved it here this season.
And you want to see more stories like that in college athletics, you know, in regards to, you know, because of the NIL and the movement in the portal. You know, Dent believed in and trusted the path that Richard Pitino and staff showed, and it's really coming to fruition here in his junior year.
Cardenas, there's a rare turnover tonight, his second. Richard Pitino and New Mexico have had quite a run. Right now, Jerry Palm has them as an 8 seed. They're 3-1 against Quad 1, 8-1 against Quad 2. They have some great wins: UCLA, VCU, at Utah State, at Colorado State. Their worst loss, New Mexico State at 163. Some might argue a road loss at San Jose State would go in that category, but both of those they'd love to have back.
Yeah, Richard Pitino told us in that New Mexico State loss, which is a rivalry game, went to overtime. They just didn't play well. They allowed missed shots on the offensive end to dictate their energy on the defensive level. And in the San Jose State, it was just, San Jose State was good that night. And New Mexico missed shots.
Nelly Jr. Joseph is fouled. He'll get free throws. Stanley picks up his 4th.
That's decision-making time for Leon Rice. Does he put Buchanan back in the game, or Ubo, who struggled in his first run in the first half?
So there you go, Donovan Dent. That number of games with the high assists. Remember, he didn't get a whole lot of playing time his freshman year. He had 2 other offensive-minded guards to feed last year. Nelly Jr. Joseph missed that free throw. Lead is 17. Buchanan, the NAIA transfer. Going to get loose in the blocks. Carmichael pops up, and he's fouled.
Drew Washington is
That's 4 on Drew Washington, or True Washington.
Foul that he would like to take back. Fought through the screen, squared Carmichael up, but easy call from the official when you get all 4 on.
And a timeout on the floor right now. 10:18 left. Boise State a big run to start this second half. About halfway through. There's a 3-point Boise State lead at halftime. There's your foul trouble. True Washington with 4. Omar Stanley for Boise State with 4. So 2.5 weeks left until the end of the regular season, and it's on to Las Vegas. For the Broncos to help themselves. They win this game. That's a nice win. At Nevada is right now a quad 1 opportunity. Nevada's 73 in the net. Utah State comes in here. That'll be quad 2. They can use any quad help they can get. Colorado State at the end. And we told you they haven't beaten anybody above them. New Mexico is the exact opposite. They've beaten everybody above them. They've swept Colorado State, swept Utah State. They've beaten Boise State. They've beaten San Diego State.
I know one thing. It's shaping up to really be a interesting Mountain West Conference tournament in Vegas in a couple weeks.
Shot fake. 3. No. Out of bounds. Boise State ball. So New Mexico has beaten the best in launching themselves to the top of the standings. But here on the road, they're down 16. Lots of basketball to play.
Boise State now showing a 1-3-1 zone. Will they drop back into a 2-3?
Dent. They look to score a little more here. Nolan. Milicevic missed the 3. Great rebound. And follow and a bucket with the foul. And that's Borovicinen.
Whatever message Richard Pitino had over the last couple minutes has been accepted by his players. They've been much more active on the offensive glass. Borovicinen flying in from the weak side.
3-point play. And New Mexico starting to chip away. It's down to 13. Biggest lead was 19. Boise State got to get it across. They do. Dagenhart, the catch, and he kicks it, and that's a turnover. And you can feel the momentum starting to slip back New Mexico's way.
And because they're at the free throw line, they can now pick up full court pressure. Haven't shot a lot of free throws until the last couple of possessions.
Little 6-0 run here. Little zone, and it forces a turnover. Keene with the steal, and he's fouled. And he's going to the line. Dent with the foul after throwing it away.
Keene active in the zone.
It is Joseph, my bad, on the reach on the foul.
RJ Keene to the line, shooting 1-1.
And it's Keene.
Lucky for New Mexico, that's only Junior Joseph's first foul as opposed to maybe his third, where you're putting a decision-making position as a coach. But as a big, you don't want to get that foul 30 feet away from the basket in defensive transition.
Buchanan out, Ubo in. Keene, who was recruited here as a shooter out of the Woodlands, Texas. Nolan. Cardenas with another steal. Carmichael, he's shooting it. Dent in full gallop behind the back. Wow. Left hand. Oh, goodness. Donovan Dent had 2 defenders, Cardenas and Dagenhart, and he beat them both.
One-man fast break there by Donovan Dent.
13-point lead. Still a ton of time. Ubo. Carmichael, it's kicked.
That's a kick. Shot clock reset.
Donovan Dent poses so many issues for opposing defenders. Maybe where he's at his best is in transition because of his speed, his handle, and his ability to finish.
Carmichael out. And Andrew Meadow is in. Just a totally different Boise team tonight than Saturday at San Diego State. Dagan Hart off the glass. And it rolls out. He'll get free throws. We check in with Emily Brown. Emily?
Yeah, I just feel obligated to mention Ashton Jeanty while here in Boise. Well, Tyson Dagenhart has been referred to as the Ashton Jeanty of the basketball team in terms of how he's recognized on campus and the fact that he stayed here his entire career. And Dagenhart told me he's heard it. It's really cool. He called Jeanty a mentor, somebody he looks up to. He also told me that Jeanty should have won the Heisman, but acknowledged that he could be a little biased.
Well, what do you expect from a Bronco? Huh? Dagenhart, who's from Spokane. I can't believe your Bulldogs let him go. But Leon Rice, of course, knew all about him. Leon, a former Gonzaga assistant. He found the perfect home here. And when he leaves, he could have the all-time scoring record in Boise State history. He's helping himself with 21 points tonight. Back to a 15-point lead. Borovichinen. New Mexico's had some good comebacks this year. Great spin, no bucket. Nolan comes in to tip it in. Full court pressure. Milicevic with the foul in backcourt. Timeout on the floor. 8 minutes left in the Mountain West. New Mexico trying to come back from down 19. It's 70-57. Old Trapper beef jerky player of the game coming up. Hijinks here during the timeout. An Old Trapper playing defense tonight. Nobody can defend Pearson Carmichael right now. The true freshman's first career start, and it's a memorable one.
You always remember your first start at the college level, and I'm sure he will look back with fond memories. 20 points, and he's been a factor from the opening tip, making big plays, stepping up to the moment, because Boise State, we've touched on it throughout the broadcast, has needed to be able to beat someone above them in the standings.
Two guys that they lost last year from the outside, Max Rice especially, and Chibuzo Abo, who went to USC. They desperately needed that three-point threat, and Carmichael has been all of that tonight.
Without a doubt. You talk about Abo and Rice, they were their two big three-point threats from a season ago. Abo, great size at 6'7", could shoot over the top. And then Max Rice, you know, he wanted the ball in big moments, and he was willing and able to make shots from well beyond the three-point arc to loosen the defense.
Fans in Albuquerque know about that. He had 35 last year at the pit.
And if I remember correctly, it was a vocal 35 with the Lobo fans. And the Lobo fans are some of the best, not just in the Mountain West, but across the country. They are extremely supportive. They've got a lot to be proud of with their crew this year.
Agreed. That is just a terrific place. And Richard Pitino has really got it going. That is just nuts. The atmosphere for that Utah State game was tremendous. Long way to go here. Down 15. Dense traffic. You're almost surprised when it doesn't fall for him. Both Cardenas and Dent got their feet tangled up. No foul. Cardenas spins away in traffic. Nice bounce pass. Ubo!
After struggling that first stretch in the first half, Ubo has settled down and been really good here in the second, defensively challenging Junior Joseph.
Dagan Hart with the reach. It was before the shot, I believe.
If you're a big setting a screen for either of these point guards, make contact, create a problem, and then get in the vision of either Cardenas or Dent.
This is 1-1. 19 fouls on Boise State. Degenhardt's first foul. Now remember, Boise State has Utah State and Colorado State coming in here in these next 2.5 weeks.
Those are big because Boise State lost in the final seconds of each of those games.
On 3-point shots.
Yeah.
And a 4-point play on one of those 3-point shots.
Ian Martinez of Utah State straight away when Degenhardt fouled him, and then at Colorado State, very similar situation.
New Mexico has lost their last 6 games in Boise. So obviously, Richard Pitino in his 4th year hasn't won here. Degenhardt's in trouble. Shot clock is down. Cardenas against Dent, falling away, and he missed the 3. And an opportunity, New Mexico, to try to cut into this lead. Drew Washington. Nelly Jr. Joseph doubled. Kicks. Nolan's 3. Boise State is +5 on the boards. Cardenas. It stays with the Broncos. Net rankings, Mountain West. Now remember, last year at this time, a lot of them were in the 20s. They had 6 teams that went to the NCAA tournament. Utah State's right behind New Mexico. Boise State, San Diego State, Colorado State at 78. And Nevada, everyone's rooting for them to stay under 75, because if you beat them at their place, it's a quad 1 win. But they've had their moments this year. They're not a pushover. Dent driving, 2 hands with a dunk.
And like it or don't like it with the net, I mean, it's one of those things that all coaches take a peek at every morning now. You know, there's good and bad about it, but there's also things that I don't like in regards to, you know, the net takes into consideration point differential, so it's really changed a lot of times how coaches, you know, maybe coach the last 4 minutes of a game, and it's really hampered the development of a lot of young guys in my eyes.
Joseph picks up his 3rd foul. That's a great point. Coaches are reluctant to bring the bomb squad on, so to speak, in the last, you know, under 5 minutes with the game in hand. They'll wait till maybe a minute is left because they want that win by 20 or more. It pumps up that number. And again, the net's not a be-all, end-all, but it's close to the metrics that the selection committee will use in their formula.
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of these bracketologists, they'll have 13. I've heard of 14 by 1 out of the SEC, and you know, that's a hard pill for me to swallow as a former player in a smaller conference. The WCC 7th ranked in the Ken Pom Mountain West 6th is a lot of those teams don't get the recognition or the opportunity that maybe they should to be a part of the tournament.
There was a fan involvement with a player that the officials are talking about right now with New Mexico, and they're going to eject a fan. If you're just joining us in the Mountain West, New Mexico, the leaders at 14-1. They've won 8 straight. Boise State has struggled against teams better than they are, but not tonight. They've got a 74-61 lead, up 13 with 5.5 left. I did not see it, Dan. It may have been a player going, you know, out of bounds, and then there was an interaction of sort.
I wasn't aware of it either. A lot of times if there's a situation like that, the official will at least tell us the number of the player so that we and maybe have the truck go back and take a look at the film and see what it might be.
And you can see you've got on that replay system, you've got 6 screens to look at. Essentially, a lot of those are our CBS cameras.
Official Nate Harris in charge of the decision-making over there.
So it's a personal foul on LA Junior Joseph, his 3rd. And I have not seen a fan escort it out. Maybe the fan left straight away. And we are told that they did eject a fan.
Back in the game for the Broncos, Pearson Carmichael.
Boise State's a very good free throw shooting team at 77%. One of 2, leads 14. And we're being told now that LA Junior Joseph has 2 fouls. They've corrected that at the table. On 3 there, Borovichin in the miss. 5.5 left. Biggest lead was 19. Great pass there. Degenhardt the floater from Cardenas.
Pocket pass to the short roll, and Degenhardt, a little soft floater over the top. Those aren't necessarily coached. Those are just instinctual type plays from both of those.
That's a pretty narrow pocket, my friend.
Yes.
Dent, baseline jumper. Borovichin in, rebound, foul. Watch this pass.
The pass to Degenhardt. The touch from Degenhardt. Boise State is clicking on all cylinders tonight, which if you're a Bronco fan, it's a welcome sight.
Borovichin in.
Pearson Carmichael to the line, shooting 2.
His 4th personal. So I think when coaches around the Mountain West watch this game tape, when they compare the game at San Diego State with this game, and New Mexico's a very good defensive team. They will steal the ball and turn it into 2 points quickly. This is the guy that has changed everything. His ability to stretch the floor, shoot the 3, score. Suddenly the offense is flowing, and they're 2 points shy of 80. Borovichin, that's a 3 from the left side. Philippe, the transfer from Arizona. Ball's loose, and it stays with Boise State.
And because New Mexico is able to get a bucket, they can now intensify their pressure in the full court. Boise State, you got to get that ball in Cardenas' hands as quickly as possible.
Louisville brings it up. Wasn't pretty, but it was effective. Carmichael calling for the ball. He's going against a really good defender in Washington. Junior Joseph with the double. Shot clock down at 5. Cardenas long way from the bucket. Finds Degenhardt to the bucket.
That's what happens when you have experience with your 2 best players. Cardenas and Degenhardt understand with the shot clock winding down, there's still plenty of time to get into pick and roll action. The delivery, the finish. Degenhardt at the free throw line to finish it off.
C.J. Nolan with the foul, his 4th. Missed the free throw. 16 down is New Mexico on the road in the Mountain West. They've lost just 1 game this year in conference. 14-1 coming into the play. Dent finds Nolan 3. Cardenas has 10 assists, 3 turnovers. Dent has 10 assists, 3 turnovers. Cardenas find Ubo, misses. Degenhardt crashes the party.
He simply took that ball away from Borovichinen.
And back down, Dent gets contact, and he'll get a couple free throws. My goodness, Boise State looks like a changed team tonight. Pearson Carmichael, Tyson Degenhardt, and a big Bronco lead. (82-64), Boise State on top of New Mexico. Coming up, we're on to New York in studio, highlights, analysis, all of that. Inside college basketball, Adam Zucker, Wally Zerbiak, Roy Hibbert, John Rothstein. Tyson Degenhardt is a point shy of 30.
He's done it in a number of ways. Pick and roll actions, off the short roll to floaters, going to work on the post, offensive rebounds, stepping out, knock down a three as well. It's hard to believe a player that good has yet to have 30 in a game in his career.
That's really rare, Dan. So much so that our research shows if he keeps his pace, he's going to be the leading scorer all-time at Boise State history. Of the current Mountain West teams, they have never had an all-time leading scorer that didn't have a 30-point game.
Wow.
So it's a rarity, but he may get it here. Because as your point was a good one about 10, 15 minutes ago, talking about the net, margin of victory is important. Coaches have been keeping their regulars in more. 82-66, Boise State on top. Cardenas, Degenhardt looking, doubled. How about another three from Peanut?
Passed up the first option.
Degenhardt misses a three.
Carmichael's got to shoot that first one on the catch.
Drew Washington missed the three. Rebound, and Washington gets inside for a put-back bucket. 2.5 minutes left, 14-point Boise State lead. If this is the Boise State team that's going to be present for the rest of the year, then all of a sudden you feel better about their NCAA tournament chances.
Without a doubt. This is showing you the reason they were the favorites in the preseason to win the league. They just haven't been able to get it done on the road. They've protected home court. Only one loss here at ExtraMile Arena. And the schedule turns back in their favor these last couple weeks.
Dent whips it. Borovichinen shoots it and rips it a three. You know what? Boise State's tried to take the air out of the ball the last two possessions, and New Mexico has crept within 11. Carmichael, Degenhardt, 7-0 run by New Mexico. Little pick, little roll, Degenhardt against Nelly Jr. Joseph. Missed the shot. Opportunity here for New Mexico to extend the run, to get a little closer. Not a lot of time left. Dent's double. Borovichinen begging for it, and Dent dribbled it into the double and lost it.
Maybe missed Borovichinen on the wing as that double converged on Dent. He had previously hit a three.
1 minute remaining in the game, 1 minute.
Minute left. Degenhardt. Clock is down. Degenhardt loose. Degenhardt missed the layup. Here comes Washington. Quick points needed. Borovichinen going hard with the jam. 41 seconds left. It's single digits now, but is it too little too late? It feels that way for New Mexico. Just resetting where these teams are right now. We use our Jerry Palm projection. New Mexico and 8 seed. Boise State's not even in the first four out. They're way out right now. However, they're 47 in the net. This is a nice win here. It's a quad 2 win at the time being. For the Broncos, they got Utah State and Colorado State coming here. For New Mexico, you look at their schedule. They got a tough one their next one on the road. They're at San Diego State on the 25th. They still have to travel to Nevada, and then they get Air Force and UNLV. They've played the toughest part of their schedule already after tonight.
That San Diego State game is going to be important for New Mexico to see how they bounce back after tonight. After their previous loss, they ran off 8 in a row. And for Boise State, we've mentioned it throughout the broadcast, the schedule comes back in their favor. Although they're at Nevada, which quietly just becomes even more important because it's another quad one opportunity against a really talented team that hasn't lived up to their expectations this year.
Seem to be playing a little better. They feel like they can make a run and grab a better seed in the Mountain West tournament. Full court pressure. Boise State's not scored in almost 3 minutes. Full court pressure. Degenhardt's ripped there by Dent. It stays with Boise State.
Boise State lucky. Dent almost got there in time.
Meadows doubled. In trouble. Is it stolen or a foul? It's a foul.
Boise State has really struggled over these last 3 minutes. They've slowed the pace down, weren't able to get into good offense, then couldn't finish when opportunities came, and they have not handled this full court pressure from New Mexico well at all.
It's always an interesting decision and a fine line for a coach when you have the lead and you have momentum. They had a couple possessions where they kind of milked the clock and let it run down and ran late offense and didn't get anything. And it blew up in their face. It was an 11-0 run by New Mexico to get within single digits.
Well, it's that fine line of, do we milk the clock or do we continue to play with the pace and the confidence that allowed us to build that lead? I know I'm not sitting in either coach's shoes right now, but when you've got a player like Cardenas and Degenhardt and you've got a devastating two-man game, get into that action, but get into it sooner in the clock as opposed to playing up against the shot clock each time.
Not a foul. And Boise State will inbound it. There's the foul.
And here's Degenhardt's opportunity to for the first time in his career to eclipse the 30-point mark.
True Washington, who had 25 against Utah State, fouls out. Washington 9 points tonight. 4 rebounds, 3 assists. C.J. Nolan, who's back. Good to see him back playing tonight. He was in concussion protocol. Nolan with 9 points as well. And Degenhardt, there you go. His first 30-point game. Point game, 30 seconds left. Gonna need a bunch of threes in a hurry or get a 2. And it stops the clock and Dent goes to the free throw line. Does it look to you like Degenhardt tonight is really hunting shots and more aggressive offensively? You know, Leon Rice has said sometimes he has to tell him, hey man, you gotta be a little more selfish. You need to look for shots.
Well, I think in some of the games that I've seen over the years, he does a tremendous job of feeling the game out and how he can impact it. And that makes him tough to scout if you're an opponent. But I think because he's so skilled, what you saw tonight was he was aggressive to score from the beginning. And I think it makes Boise State a much tougher team. You pair that with Cardenas playmaking and now Carmichael spacing the floor even more. These are good signs for Boise State.
Carmichael's trapped. Cardenas is out of bounds, or was it a foul? Timeout. Leon Rice got it. Leon Rice dashed into the play and got a timeout just in time. It's an 8-point game with 16 seconds left.
Credit Richard Pitino and his Lobo Ball Club and not giving up. I mean, they are a team with incredible spurtability. We had touched on they've had 14 10-0 runs just in Mountain West play. They've had one here down the stretch after Boise State created that big lead.
Current tournament teams with Jerry Palm's projections. SEC and Big Ten leading the charge. Big 12, Big East with 4, ACC just 4. And the Mountain West right now with 3, and that does not include Boise State. That's San Diego State, Utah State, and New Mexico. San Diego State is interesting. They're at 48 in the net, but they're ranked higher than Boise State, who's 47 in the net in a lot of the bracket projections.
I think a big reason why is, they've swept the season series with Boise State. Their defense is unbelievably good again. I just think that, as of now, Boise State, they've got their biggest opportunities in front of them. And if they play like this, I would hate to be in the selection committee's room on Sunday having to say no to a team that played like they have tonight.
Degenhart is fouled. Remember, New Mexico last year won the Mountain West tournament to get to the NCAAs. They didn't just win the Mountain West. They had to win 4 games in 4 nights. And man, did they look good doing it, especially in the championship game.
They were dominant last year down in Vegas in the tournament. And you saw signs of that a season ago from them, but they also had a team that was wildly inconsistent. Defensively, Jalen House, and then offensively, Jamal Mashburn Jr., you weren't always 100% sure what you were going to get, but when they were clicking, as they were in Vegas, they were great.
You saw Borovic, and he's fouled out. Degenhart with a free throw. 14 seconds left. It's a 3-point Bronco lead at the half. And for New Mexico, just their second stumble this year in conference.
Ball back in for Pearson Carmichael.
Both teams have had their starters out there right to the end. Dent up top, good rotation. Nolan, corner 3, got it. Good execution. 5 seconds left. Keene is fouled by Dent. 4.6 left.
Mexico, number 2.
I don't think Tent got him. I think he missed, but the angle that the official was viewing it from made it look as if it was a foul.
So send Keene to the line. It feels like these guys are going to meet again in Las Vegas. I mean, it was a decisive win by New Mexico at the pit earlier this season. They walloped Boise State. Broncos had a 19-point lead in this one. It's been melted down in these last few seconds. Final shot, Nelly Jr. Joseph. And Boise State finally beat somebody above them in the standings. And it's New Mexico. A fun night in the Mountain West. Tyson Degenhart was huge, his first 30-point game, and a star is born tonight with Pearson Carmichael. The true freshman getting his first start had 21 points. He certainly was a difference maker in building that big lead. Standings. New Mexico now 14-2. Utah State a game behind, but New Mexico has the tiebreaker over Utah State. San Diego State hanging in there 11-4. Colorado State's 11-4. Boise State's at 10-5. It's the Mountain West. It's crazy. It's fun.
Every year it's been wild, and this no different, as the preseason favorite hasn't been able to win on the road, but they were tremendous in protecting home court tonight.
And let's go down below with Emily Proud and Tyson Degenhart.
Tyson, a career night for you. What allowed you to come out and be so aggressive in this one?
Little things, and ended up being a good night for me offensively.
You told me before this game that your coach said after Saturday's loss that you don't get do-overs, you get second chances. How'd you take advantage of the second chance?
We knew they were going to pressure us, and we just had to be stronger with the ball. We didn't have our best effort against San Diego State, and I'm really proud of our effort tonight. We just got to keep it rolling.
Quite the first start for Pearson Carmichael, or Peanut. What was it like watching him tonight?
He plays with such a confidence and a swagger that you don't really see out of freshmen, and he had 20-some points. He made some big shots for us, and I'm really, really happy for him.
Offensively, how do you build on a performance like this game?
I think we saw our pace really, really amp up, and we were able to get ahead of the defense, and I think that's something we're going to take in for the rest of the year.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice job tonight, Emily. For Emily Proud, Dan Dickow, our entire CBS crew, I'm Rich Waltz. This is a presentation of CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. On to New York, Adam and the gang in our New York studio inside college basketball. 86-78, Boise State beats New Mexico.